Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to fucking Boo Bombing Stories with Jay Hollingsworth. I am Big Irish Jay Hollingsworth. And my guest this week, we have the Mighty Morphin Tiny Ranger. What else would we call you? Fuck, I don't know. Good things come in small packages. I don't fucking Liz Rock of Gibraltar Stone. I don't know what the fucking late, horrible nicknames. Liz Stone. So Liz, if you've watched Love in Black and White, you've seen Liz on there where she was talking about her escapades. We'll just say. People always write in, "How's Liz? Is she okay?"
I would also love to thank all your fans on that podcast because they check in on me on Instagram to make sure I'm alive.
They love you. We got to have you back on that to give an update on if there's any new dick. Anyways, but back to bombing. Okay, so for a little backstory. So Liz, you are how long have you been doing comedy?
Like 7-8 years.
Okay, so 8 years. Yeah. And
yeah.
You, before comedy, you're a lawyer?
Yes.
Can you say what you do or what you did?
Yeah. So I don't practice law anymore, but I was a litigator. So I was in court and representing companies in like commercial and patent litigation disputes.
That's fucking big bank, right?
Yes. And very high stakes. Like a small mistake is a big bomb. And growing up, I did gymnastics and diving. So also a lot of rooms for bombing publicly there as well. So
your bombing story tonight, is this comedy related or lawyer related?
You know what? I actually remembered a day where I bombed both lawyering and doing comedy.
It was all in the same?
Yeah. It was before I really got into comedy and I was taking a comedy class.
Okay.
And I was like, wait, that was a really bad day. So I remembered that one, but I have so many bombing stories. I mean, we could pick a million.
We're just doing one. I mean, we could have you back to tell a different one.
Okay.
Or another one. But so, all right. So set the mood. Tell us this.
Okay. So at this time, I'm a corporate lawyer, like very high pressure. And I really had no interest in doing comedy, but I was taking comedy, like stand-up classes they had in San Francisco. I had no interest in being a comic. I wanted to take a jewelry making class, but they were all at 6 p.m. and there was no way I could get out of work then. I wanted to just be like a housewife who knit, you know? And there was like a stand-up class that was once a week at 8 p.m. And I did it just to get out of the office. I was working till like 10, 11 every night. So get out of the office once a week. So I'm taking the stand-up class where you're obviously just bombing because you don't know how to do comedy. And it's not even like an open mic. It's like worse than that. It's like a class. Yeah. And I'm literally like, I'm paying for this to get me out of my office. But then you also show up and then you're like, oh man, now I suck at this too. So, but I'm focused on my career as a lawyer and, you know, you're representing big companies and I was in court and running cases and all that stuff. So I had like a bunch of these rote cases, like they weren't even complicated. It was just kind of like we had a client and we were able to do it really efficiently.
What's a rote case?
It just means like a bunch of cases are kind of all the same.
Okay,
like,
that's for other people. I mean, I knew what that was.
Yeah, so it's nothing complicated. I just basically have like this motion that I file and it takes me like 10 minutes to change it for each client and I file it. So we're able to do it like really efficiently and it's whatever. And I started working there and they just gave me this document and I just run all these cases the same. It's really boring. And usually we would win. Like the law was on our side and you just go in and you argue the motion and whatever. And I went to court and the partner's like, okay, just, you know, call me when you get back. And it's just when I'm just starting to do all this stuff on my own and I want to get good reviews because I'm on partnership track and all that stuff. And I happened to get a judge where it was his last day being a judge in California. He was about to retire. And he like really, really hated lawyers by this point. So I show up and I just go to have this hearing where I usually just win.
Also, so he hates lawyers. And then how does he feel about like high energy little Spitfires?
And I'm like, hello, I'm here to win this case for the bank. I'm used to winning. How's it going? Here are my documents, just waiting for the win so I can message my partner, right?
Right.
And the document's like long, but whatever. So this guy just is waiting for his chance to let loose on some lawyer in California. And I roll in with I filed my motion, I show up in court, and I'm just ready to go in and be like, okay, here's the law, here's what they did, we're ready to win. And he does not share the view of that. He, in open court, is like, Miss Stone, you are everything that is wrong with lawyers in California. And he just proceeds to dump 40 years of baggage on me. And I'm just in my suit. Then I'm also kind of thinking, yo, dude, I do this all the time and I always win. I have it. And he's like, and you're wasting clients' money. Why is this 25 pages? And then, it's on record. I can't be like, yo, all I do is change some names in that document. It takes 10 minutes. Come on.
And now, so that's his opener. Your opener, though, when you came in was just, you basically were just like, I'm here for this case.
Yeah. Elizabeth Stone. Go. How's it going?
Actually, can you, if you I'm sure you remember, what is what you had said?
I think I just announced my appearance for the court. I think literally that's
how does
all
it go? So how does that go?
Your Honor, Elizabeth Stone representing JP Morgan or whatever bank I was representing. That's it.
That's it. And then he
fucking happening.
Goes right into.
And you can tell that he's like, it's my last day on the bench, and I hate everyone who's appeared in front of me for 40 years. Shit. And this bitch just filed a 25-page motion, and I'm just here to let loose because judges usually have to be so restrained or whatever. And I'm like, and I'm not gonna be like, hey, dude, I do this every week. I win. The law's on our side. And
hey, dude, Your Honor.
You're kind of stuck because you're like, okay, well, it's your job to make the argument. You can't just cut bait and run. It's your job to represent your client, and you know what argument you have to make going in. But I'm also I don't know how many lawyers have had this happen to them, and I'm like, well, Your Honor, we had a contract with them and you can see the terms of the contract. And he's like, he didn't say fuck you at all, but everything said just fuck you and fuck every lawyer. And I'm like, oh my God. And even opposing counsel is just looking at me sorry, this is terrible. And I'm I'm a 5th or 6th year lawyer. It's you're just getting to run things and you have to report back to your partners, but I'm like, this is going sideways. So I'm just I don't know how to deal with this, because I'm required to make the arguments. I know he's not going to listen. This is so embarrassing. And this is definitely not about me. Right. This is just not about me. But and you have to be super professional. The fun thing about comedy is you can be go fuck yourself. You could just go off. You can do anything. But if you're practicing law, you can't do that. You're I can't get sanctioned. I can't do something disrespectful, but I'm also we have a contract. They didn't follow it. I'm not waiting.
Okay.
And he's and you're wasting the client's money. This is everything that's wrong with lawyers. How long does this take you? And I was it took me such a short period of time. I didn't even want to say it because then I look I'm not even doing my job, but I'm this is really easy. And so I just let him ream me out. And everyone's just oh no. And he just reams me out. And I'm oh, Your Honor, I just to see if you saw the contract that we had with them. And it's yeah, I saw that. Whatever. This is denied. And then meanwhile, my BlackBerry is blowing up because my partner's hey, did we win? What's happening? I get to the and I had to get up at 6 a.m. to drive to San Jose for this. Oh. I was in San Francisco and I'd beat traffic and get there early. And you can't fill your time. So you're just getting up at leaving at 6 a.m. just to make sure you're not late for your 8 a.m. hearing because everyone in the Bay Area is on the road. And I'm in a stupid suit, just getting screamed at by this guy who's angry at every lawyer he's seen for 40 years.
So, okay. So you opened basically with your name and the case. That's all you said. He then goes on a fucking 40-year he's been dealing with tangent And then so once
when
he
he
gets done,
said, "I'm so glad I'm retiring tomorrow, so I don't have to deal with this."
Jesus Christ. So after he goes on that long tirade, it stops. It's your turn to now say something. What do you say?
Your Honor, did you see the contract that we have?
Oh, and that's when he was like, "Yeah, I seen the damn contract or whatever." So what do you do? Like,
I'm just like, okay. Like you're just like, it is my job to make the argument. So I have to say the words, but we all know no one wants to hear them. Like it's just, it's just so bad. And then I get to the car and the partner sent me like 12 messages. She's like, "What's happening? Like, did we win? Like, did we get it?" And I'm like, so actually like this one like didn't really go that well. And she's like, "Well, did you tell him to look at the contract?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to talk to you in person about that one." This one.
Dude, and okay, so
and I also work for this really scary partner. Like I actually really liked her, but she would just go off on people. She would scream at people like the judge would scream at people. And I'm like, "Oh boy, it's a real balancing act of people screaming at me today."
So you said though, up until this one, you like won these all the time.
We were always winning them. Like it was like just literally it took a lot for us to actually sue these people who weren't paying us. Like it was pretty straightforward,
And so didn't win that one. And have you ever had any interaction with this judge again? Did he ever apologize?
No, he retired. And I don't practice law anymore, but the best is, so I get back to the office and I had to go tell her, and I'm like, no, he like really went off on me. And she's like, "Why? Like, did he see the contract?" And I'm like, "He saw the contract. He didn't appreciate all the paperwork." I'm like, "He said he was wasting the client's money." She's like, "We don't waste the client's money." I'm like, "I know we don't waste the client's money. Like, I'm the one who did this. I'm with you, girl." Like, I'm like, I'm just literally just at the point where I'm just frozen, just nodding at everyone. And I'm like, I'm literally just trying to keep my job at this point. And then I get back to work, and then I don't even, to be honest, remember the rest of the day, but there's just a million other fire drills and a million other things that go wrong. Then I go to this stand-up class where I show up, first of all, in a suit. And this class is just...
Oh, I took a stand-up class. I know what it's like.
I'm in a suit with like my pumps coming from like this awful day at work. And they're like, "Liz, you're going to host our show tonight." And it's not like a real show or whatever. And I was like already frazzled. And then I could not work the mic stand the entire night. I couldn't get it up and down. I couldn't get the microphone in and out. And I'm like so tired. And
a lot different than when you were on Love in Black and White.
I've come a long way, Jay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're having to host.
And then I went home to a husband who wouldn't fuck me. I bombed there too.
Yeah, Jesus. You had the trifecta.
That is a real dark period of my life.
So, like one of the things, but I don't know how you'll answer this, because one of the things when somebody tells their bombing story, I ask, what would you do differently so you wouldn't have bombed? But I don't know if there's anything. So I'll say then, what did you learn anything from it?
I mean, that one was just, it's like sometimes you just have to like sit there and take it. I feel like I'm quoting someone's set.
Are we still talking about your sex life?
I'm like, you're just like, I gotta yes you to death and like make the argument. But it's like, honestly, like, and when I started bombing in comedy, like when I started actually like doing it, going to mics and like being out there and bombing, the worst is I would bomb so much harder, because instead of like when I saw that things weren't working, it would make me more stiff and formal, like I was in court, where you're like, you know what, just stick to the program. Because like if you're in court, or like when I was growing up doing gymnastics, like if you fall, you just get back, you stick to the program, just pretend it never happened, right? And you can't do that in comedy. So when I started doing comedy, I'm coming with the background of like gymnastics and lawyering, where you're like, well, here are the points I have to hit. So I would get up and just start doing like a terrible set, like not connecting with the audience at all. And they were like, "Fuck you, we hate you." And I'm like, well, better stick to those like jokes I lined out, like not being able to like relax and be like, "Uh-oh, this isn't good," and like alter things.
You close with, "I rest my case."
Yeah, I'm just like, well, I had a plan, and all I've ever learned is that you don't veer from it. So the way like you kind of survive bombing in gymnastics and lawyering is makes everything exponentially worse in comedy. Like a big turning point for me in comedy is when I was like, how about you do everything the opposite you've ever done in the rest of your life?
Now, let me ask you this. How dope would it be if that judge was at a show one time?
It sure would be amazing.
What would you do?
It would kind of depend if he liked my set or not, to be honest.
Oh, I wouldn't even give him a chance. I would just go in. I'd be like, oh, shit, look at this fucking cocksucker. Oh, dude, I would just fucking go off.
The day you retired, I hope you had a great day in court just screaming at young attorneys for no reason.
Dude, you'd get your revenge. You could just fucking go off on him. Oh, dude.
I know.
All right. This is gonna be titled Liz fought the law and the law won. Give everybody your social media, all your handles.
Everything's Liz Stone Comedy. I'm mostly just active on Instagram.
Okay. Do you have anything?
Even though everyone else does TikTok. Yeah, I'm going to be stalking you in Colorado Springs this weekend.
Yeah, I just love I hear you need a feature.
Hey, how's it going? So I have my flight booked. I'll be there.
Did you ever get your hotel?
I got to sort that out. I had a little bit of a busy day.
We're a day away.
I'm going to do that tonight.
You're going to bomb on your fucking hotel.
Way, my aunt is coming. She hasn't met you, but my aunt went to see Tris in Boston, and then she met Carlos like when she was in town. And so she doesn't know you, but she has informed me that all of your shows will be sold out.
What?
She's like, I think all of Jay's shows are going to be sold out. I'm like, I don't know. Like, we could check on it. She's like, I don't know which one I want to go to, but I think I'm just going to buy tickets to a bunch, like, just in case. And I'm like, well, I could just, like, talk to Jay. She's like, Jay is busy. And I'm like, I love how supportive she is.
Yeah.
She's so supportive.
Except she's going to buy all the tickets, and then it's just going to be her in the audience.
I know.
That's it.
We don't want you to buy up all the tickets.
Like, show for one. All right.
I'm like, oh no. But she's like so excited. Like she's gone to like probably 2 comedy shows, like one of mine and one of Trix's.
Oh boy.
So
this will be interesting.
No, she's great. She's super cool, but she's very excited to come see you.
I can't wait to meet her. What's her name?
Yeah.
We'll give her a shout out on here.
Aunt Katie.
Aunt Katie.
Aunt Katie.
Pretty close to Karen. Aunt Karen. Karen.
She's not a Karen. She's cool.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Liz. Go follow Liz on. She said she's mainly on Instagram, but you can follow her anywhere. And until you heard her on here, she's already got some fans from Love in Black and White. So maybe she'll get some of the Boo Crew or the Bombs Away, the Bombardiers, the Bomb Voyage. Ugh, fucking yuck. All right. Thanks, Liz.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.